Recording. Thank you for coming to see me today here at the Hope Center. My name is Michelle Hunt, and I'll be the social worker assessing your case. Today, I just want to ask you a few questions regarding your concern and why you're here to see us, as well as to get to know you a little bit better. I do want to let you know that I'll be taking some notes, so if you see me look away or writing down things, it's just so I can keep track of what we're talking about. Additionally, everything that you say here will be confidential unless you indicate any self-harm or intent to harm others. Okay, so first let me ask you how you would like me to address you.
Just Brenda.
Brenda. Okay, Brenda, and your last name is Brooks, is that correct?
Right.
And Brenda, tell me why you're here today.
I'm here because I'm an alcoholic. I find myself drinking. It's been a little bit more lately. I've kind of been off and on ever since I was of age. I just would like to move away from that dependency to relax.
All right, Brenda, tell me about your family history. Where did you live? Who did you grow up with? What was it like in your home?
So I grew up with 4 siblings. I'm the second oldest. We were 4. We lived on a farm in Wicker County, so rural. Mom stayed at home. Dad worked some from job to job here and there. It was not exactly a great situation. My first memory is my dad actually hitting my mom. I was very young. I peeked through the bedroom door and saw him smack her. And that's the first thing I can remember on this. Sorry. So I believe he stopped at some time when I was very young. We used to have bags packed in my mom's bedroom in a closet of clothes that we would wear, when we go to the women's shelter, which we did a couple times. And she'd make sure we repack those every a little bit. But just kind of a hostile environment. Really, the tables flipped. My mom was still to this day is really hard on my dad for those years. So I think it's been probably 20 years since he's done something like that.
Okay, you mentioned that your dad was abusive. Your first memory is of him hitting your mom. Did he drink or use drugs?
They both did. There was always something under the kitchen sink, whether it was vodka or bourbon. Eggnog, you had to be careful around Christmas time if you want to pour a glass because it could already have the bourbon in it. We went to Liquor Barn every single Saturday, and it was one of our favorite places as kids because we all got a balloon and would check it. And that was fun. So, yeah, they don't do that anymore.
So what are your family's beliefs, or what were their beliefs regarding alcohol and drug use?
They're Christian, but it was more of a wait till the kids are in bed kind of thing. Not really social, just the two of them doing like paperwork or what have you at night. It was when they drank, and it wasn't wrong, but they would say they would never drink in excess. I don't know, most time we were asleep.
Okay.
My dad also made his own beer and wine and things.
Okay.
As well.
All right. Do you describe your relationship with your parents?
Well, right now my dad's pretty sick. He's not sure what's going on. Something mental, behavioral, or both. My mother is just really a stressor. It's hard to get together with them right now because I see my dad sick and he's really got something going on. I know he's had 2 strokes, so he has a hard time walking or holding a conversation or, energy. And so that's stressful. But then there's my mother who thinks it's all his fault somehow or some result of sin in his life. And it's hard. I lost my job 3 weeks ago and I actually haven't told them because it's always about my mom and her being the victim and the center of attention. And I just don't want to stress them out. So it's tense, but only for me. I don't think my mother feels that. I just kind of try to limit the interactions.
Okay, and what about your siblings? What is your relationship like with them?
Really great. Really great. My brother and I and my sister get along. My littlest brother, he's just now starting college, so trying to socialize with him more, get him out of the house a little bit, but he's really having a hard time in school, so he's shutting down a little bit, but we all get along really well.
Okay. Are they aware of your alcohol use?
Probably my brother the most, my second oldest brother, Ben. But my sister, when she came to my house, she stayed with me back in July for my birthday. She saw a lot of bottles in the top shelf of our pantry, probably more alcohol than food.
Okay.
So probably the 2 of them.
Parents are unaware?
They're aware, but they wouldn't see it as a problem.
Okay. Are you currently married?
Yes, 4 months. Newlywed.
Newlywed. And does your husband drink?
He does, but it's, maybe in the weekend if we go out somewhere, but never really during the week. And it's usually if I'm drinking, he never gets a drink on his own.
You mentioned that your parents did drink and at times used drug. Or do you have any other relatives or anyone else in your family that has a history of drug or alcohol use?
Not that I know of. I know there was some serious mental health concerns with my grandmother, on my dad's side. She had schizophrenia, and I know my dad's a sociopath. There's some mental health, but there's not necessarily alcohol abuse.
And going back to your relationship with your husband, describe that relationship.
It's really good. It's been a little stressful, but just for me lately, just where I did lose my job and I'm unemployed, just trying not to be sad or project any of my lack of confidence in any way. But he has just been awesome and very supportive of me.
Okay, you said that you lost your job. How has that impacted your drinking?
I wanted to drink more, especially to relax. I found myself on the second day after drinking at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, which is not something I would ever normally do, and I haven't done it since. But the urge is there more.
What time of day do you usually find yourself drinking?
6, 7 o'clock.
So evening.
And it's usually a glass of wine or a beer with TV for a little bit.
Do you drink socially, or is it? Do you drink alone?
Both. I do both.
Which do you find yourself doing more?
Well, it depends how you define socially. If alone is just me and my husband at home, I mean, he may not be sitting there with me. I'd say more alone. Social.
All right. Have you found yourself in any legal issues due to your drinking? Any legal issues at all? Do you have children?
No. No children.
And what's the highest level of education that you've completed?
I have my bachelor's.
Okay. Were you ever diagnosed with any learning disabilities or any concerns regarding that?
No, I'm a magna cum laude graduate, so it's never had any trouble there.
Okay. How do you feel about yourself when you're not in a relationship?
Well, it's kind of freeing. I enjoy it, but I really enjoy the company more. Not even just like being alone, but just have somebody to do stuff with. But there's always friends I can do that with, so it's not really any different.
Okay. Is your relationship with your husband a monogamous one?
Yes.
And how is your sex drive or your sexual behavior affected by your drinking?
I really don't have much fun at all. If anything, it helps me just relax and be a little bit more free in that way.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about your religious and spiritual background. Is your family, you mentioned they're Christian, do they have a denomination that they...
We church shopped a lot, but if they had to pick one, I'd be Baptist.
Baptist. And what about you? Are you also Baptist?
I am non-denominational. I'm a Christian.
So when you hear the term higher power, what does that mean to you?
I mean the Lord Jesus Christ and the Holy Trinity.
Do you pray or meditate?
Absolutely. Yes, daily.
Do you think there's a difference between someone who's religious and someone who's spiritual?
Absolutely. I think religious is more of your habits, and the things you do. Spiritual is the why you do it.
Do you feel like your involvement in the church has been affected by your drinking?
It can be, sometimes Sunday mornings wanting to get up if I had a late night or, got a little bit of a hangover, I don't want to make it to church.
And who do you depend on most, or what do you depend on most when you're in crisis or despair?
Myself. I usually, there's nobody I really call, or, my husband's not exactly the most talkative guy sometimes. It's really just me.
Okay. And how do you handle stress? Talk to me about that.
I run. I try to do it in the morning so that way I don't have anxiety. It really levels me out. Figured that out about 3 years ago. It just kind of gets that nervous energy out and makes me much more even keeled for the day. So working out or even just doing stuff, projects around the house, moving something physical.
So it sounds like you prefer physical activity in times of stress. You don't rely on alcohol or drinking necessarily to relieve stress. Is that accurate?
That's accurate, yeah.
Have you ever had feelings that you need to use or drink first thing in the morning?
No. Thankfully, no.
Have you ever had memory losses when you drank?
Yes. I've woken up in college. I would wake up places I didn't know, and I used to have to call my husband at the time to come get me. That happened a couple times.
Okay. You mentioned husband at the time.
This is my second
marriage?
Yes.
In your first marriage, did your husband drink in your first marriage?
He drank a lot. He was a big bourbon fan, but he drank, and he also made his own beer. It was kind of always worrisome because he worked third shift, and if we had dinner at 7 or 8 o'clock, he'd have a couple drinks, but he'd have to go to work at 10 o'clock, and always worried about that. Yeah. And then he'd get home at 5 in the morning and he'd drink again. So I always thought it was a problem, but he didn't. There were just a lot of hostile things there. He just wasn't a healthy person.
Did that have any impact on your current drinking or?
No. In those days when I would drink, it'd be social, it'd be college, going out with friends, working 2 jobs, paying, going to school full time, trying to keep, a 4.0. It would be just go let loose with some girlfriends and pretty much binge.
Was there any moment that really triggered your want to drink more to the point that you drink now?
No, not really. Not that I can think of.
Have you ever experienced any withdrawal symptoms, shakes?
No.
Sweats, cramping, none of that? And how would you describe your use? Is it a problem for you, a problem for others, or both?
Just a problem for me, and I really don't think it's that bad. I just don't want to have that urge anymore. It's even if I've run and I've had a full day, I just feel like I need a little something extra just to smooth out, relax, and I want to not have that urge.
Are there any problems with your family members that is in any way related to your drinking?
My mom's a really anxious person. She drives me up a wall. We really just kind of can spin off each other. I have a hard time. I usually like to have alcohol when they come over so people will chill out some. Typically, she's definitely a stressor.
Tell me how old were you the first time you ever drank?
I was 6. Well, so in our house, my parents would, invite us to have a drink with them or try wine and stuff like that at Thanksgiving. Probably 16, 15.
Okay. How often do you drink now?
1 to 2 times a day. 1 to 2 drinks a day.
When's the last time you had a drink?
Tuesday night, I had a beer.
Okay. Well, that is all of the information that I need right at this moment. Brenda, do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, what are our next steps?
Wonderful. So the next steps will be for me to just go back through our notes, really assess the information that I've gathered, and then start to put together a plan for you. We will meet again in just a few days. We'll set up that appointment before you leave and discuss resources that you might need. We'll look at potentially using rehabilitation facilities or recovery program, looking at Alcoholic Anonymous meetings, different things that might be able to help you in your journey.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you so much.